Hi, so today we were talking about how to transform a parent cubic function graph to a new cubic function when we've only been given 3 points. And I had a hard time kind of figuring that out, but I was able to sort of work on that this afternoon. And so I'm going to show you on this video how I figured it out. So I'm going to use this program called Desmos.com. And right now on your screen it might seem a little blurry, so what can help you with that is making your video full screen, and that will help a little bit. But just bear with me, it usually gets better after a while. So we're on Desmos, and we know that our parent function is cubic, so I'm going to graph that. F of x equals x cubed. And that is our purple line that we have right there. Now, if you remember on one of the problems that we discussed, we used reference points to sort of figure out how to transform the parent function to the new function. So I'm going to pick 3 reference points on this line. So -1, comma, -1, 0, 0 is the second one I'm going to pick, and the third one I'll pick is 1, 1. So I know that these reference points are good to use because they lie directly on the x cubed line. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is graph the 3 coordinates they gave us in the problem. So the first one was -9, 8. The second one was -10, 4. And the third one was -11, 0. Okay, so now we have these 3 points, but I'm going to make sure that their colors correspond with their points that they are related to. So this first point, -1, 1, corresponds with -11, 0. So this one needs, this one needs to be orange. All right, so the second problem, or the second point, is black, and it corresponds to this green point right here. So we're going to go change this to black. And the third point, I believe, is red. And so this blue one corresponds to the red one. All right, so now we can see which ones they correspond to. So let's look at this. We have this point 0, 0, and it moves over to this point -10, 4. So we know it moves left on the x-axis 10 units, and it moves up on the y-axis 4 units. So let's take our new function, we'll call it g of x. And we know it's an x cubed sort of function, but it's not exactly an x cubed function. So how do we move it on the x-axis to the left? We would do the opposite of what we would think you should do. It would be x plus 10 cubed. So you see how that orange line moved from the parent function now over to the left. And now we need to move it up 4 units. So we'll go up 4, add 4 at the end. So now you see that this line, this orange line, is getting closer to our new function, but it's not quite there because we still have these 2 points that aren't lying directly on the line. So at this point in time, our function is g of x equals the quantity of x plus 10 to the third power plus 4. So let's see if I can switch my screen to Microsoft Word to show you how we can work this out. So we wanted to take that point, -1, -1, that corresponding point, and then see how it relates to the graph at the point -1, or -11, 0, excuse me. So let me try something. Let's do this. Okay. So we're taking this point, -1, 1, and we're trying to figure out how we can transform it into this point. So we know that our g of x function at this point is x plus 10 cubed plus 4. But we need to stretch it or shrink it somehow to make it fit those points. And so we know that something needs to come in the front. And we'll call that something for amplitude. So g of x, we're letting our x be -11. We got that from the given coordinates. And we know that when you plug in 11 for x in this g function, you get 0 out. And that's what the y coordinate over here tells us. Okay, so this g of 11 equals 0 times Negative 11 plus 10 quantity cubed plus 4. Okay, so let's do the math. We know we can subtract this 4 over to the other side, so we end up with 0 minus 4 is negative 4. So negative 4 equals something times negative 11 plus 10 quantity cubed. Solve for that, we know that's negative 1. So negative 4 equals a times negative 1 cubed. We know that negative 1 cubed is equal to negative 1. So we get a negative a out of that. So we have negative 4 equals negative a. And if you multiply or divide that by negative 1, you get a is equal to 4. So now we're going to plug this 4 back into this equation. So we have g of x equals 4 times the quantity of x plus 10 cubed plus 4. So let's go over and graph that. So here we go, g function. Let's try multiplying it by 4. Oh, bingo, that is exactly what we want. So now you can see that all 3 points that we were given lie on this new line, this g of x, started by graphing reference points and then figuring out how we could move those and manipulating the given parent function. Makes sense to you? If not, we can definitely talk about it next week when I meet up with you guys. Have a good weekend.